but he does have a bit of a change of tune from what he had just hours ago when he was riling up the crowd. And I will say one more thing, Chuck. I am talking to a lot of sources who, Republican sources who even want to make sure that this is completed, that this process in the House floor is completed.
Right.
And some of these members who were opposed to it say it's going to be very interesting to see which ones continue to go forward with their objections.
Right. Yeah. I think it's really hard to justify it at this point. Leanne Caldwell, I'm glad to get you on to make sure your family knows you're all well and safe as well. So, Leanne, thank you. Let me go back onto the street on the outside of the Capitol. That's
Capitol Hill lawn. So just a couple of hours ago, as we were broadcasting, right, there were thousands of folks. I mean, you could see them up on the Capitol Hill steps. They were trying to breach the Capitol. They got inside the Capitol, as we well know. But then we saw those flashbangs. We saw the tear gas being dispersed, and they were trying to push those protesters, those rioters, off of the Capitol Hill steps. We were there to see it all. We saw these major flashbangs coming out of the Capitol building, and then the police and the Capitol Police, along with the DC Metro Police, they began to push the rioters and the protesters back off of the Capitol Hill steps gradually. And this is kind of formulaic for them. This is something they do. This is something that we've seen throughout the summer with all of the protests that happened with Black Lives Matter movement.
Warn them repeatedly, give them fair notice, and then see if they withdraw. And as they withdraw, you begin to create a calmer situation. We are beginning to see that begin to materialize.
See a bottle of water tossed by someone, so I can only hope that things stay peaceful. So as we can see, guys, the last of the people being moved out of the Capitol building.
I think what struck me listening to a little bit of your show here is that you know what, Republicans are completely unified right now.
Whether that was who was responsible for firing the shot, nor do we know where inside the Capitol building the shot was fired or why, whether it was in the process of defending the House of Representatives from the people who were trying to smash their way in or what. But the person was shot, taken, aid was immediately rendered. She was taken to a nearby hospital, and a short time later,
Vanna, so, just listening to you guys talk about this woman who has been shot inside the Capitol halls, and, unbelievable to hear that. Nonetheless, we're getting pushed back further and further. As I was talking to Chuck a little bit earlier, the DC Metro Police basically set up a line here, and this is formulaic for them. This is something they learn how to do, right? This is the way that they push protesters and rioters back in situations like this. This is how they disperse crowds. We've seen this over and over again in situations like this, as we saw over the summer with the Black Lives Matter protests, and they're doing it here again, and it's working. I mean, there were thousands upon thousands of folks in the mall area throughout the last couple of hours. We saw people breaching the Capitol building, as